Hi everyone, thanks for checking out another Eagle Eye Productions video. It's been a while, but I will continue with some of the cars that I haven't covered yet and that are now classics. But we also go up to the ranks. This is the D2 from Audi, the original A8 that was launched in '96. I think it was produced until 2002, but we'll go into the details later. Today we're going to do a vehicle check on this car, how many remain of them in the Netherlands, what the costs are. Yeah, personally I find this a very beautiful A8. Yes, it's dated, but it's to my belief that this is design-wise one of the most beautiful Audis that came onto the market. I like the design. It's luxurious, it's statement-like, CEO-like, without being too screamy and shouty like a BMW, for instance. Um, to each his own, basically. But I like this car. So let's see. This is basically what we talk about. This is '96 with the 4.2 V8. Yeah, still to this day I find it a beautiful. All these design cues from the '90s. It's just my style. So indeed, the 4D was produced between '97 and 2002 in the US, and worldwide '95 until 2002. So quite a long time, the mid '90s until the early 2000s. This is basically the V8 we already covered before, but the D2 is really the rebadge to A8. They started with the A4, the A6, and then the A8 was their top spec model. And they also had the S8, and that movie came out in '98, and that featured an S8 which was the fastest Audi. Let's see if we can find some information about the engines. So it's probably all petrol. No, this is diesel. So they had a V6 diesel, they had a V8 diesel. That's fantastic. They had a W12 already. Okay, the last 2 years. Then the W12 was shared with the Phaeton that also came around that time. So petrol V6s, V8, W12, which is a very special engine. Only Volkswagen produced that one, which is basically two V6s glued together at the crankshaft, making the V into a W. Fantastic from an era where Volkswagen made crazy things like a V10 TDI, a W12, a W8 in the Passat. It was a different time. But let's focus on the Audi A8, and this is the S8. You see here in the grille, very subtle, you see different S8 rims. You see here this is all chromed out, so you know you have to deal with, or you are dealing with, a special kind of A8. And this was the performance version of this car. Yeah, and here on the badge you can't really tell, but it says S8 with the old RS logo basically. So what do we have here in the Netherlands? We selected prices high going to low. And the most expensive car is the 4.2 V8 Quattro, so all-wheel drive car from 2001, a late production model. According to this advert, it only drive like 180,000 kilometers. I hope it will open in the meanwhile. Yes, it does. So from January of 2001, this car is. It has the 8-cylinder, the 4.2. It's quite a heavy car with 1780 kilos. It had 310 horsepower, and 0 to 60 kilometers an hour was done in just under 7 seconds. Okay, so let's check it out. It does have a German license plate, I suppose. So it is going to be an import, but this is here you see the solar panel, and the solar panel is used to still give enough electricity so the car can be cooled for a while. So the air conditioning can keep on running. I think that's the idea behind it, and maybe in the winter time it can keep the heater running. So you can see this is quite an executive car, has lots of space. The design basically didn't change since 96 or the mid 90s, and you can tell. But for me personally, I think the design of this car, it's so understated. I like it a lot. Here you have this V8, which was also you can also find that in the V8, the Audi V8. Made a video of that before. Check it out on my channel. And that was basically the first luxury Audi, and this was the first A8, so it was a big milestone for Audi. They had the GPS module here on the trunk, which was also brand new cutting edge technology in the 90s, that you had your own navigation system in the car. That's really when it started, the mid to late 90s actually. And this being their flagship model, and Audi always being very heavy on new technology, they also had to put that in this car. If you look at a modern A8, it's just like a spaceship. It's unbelievable. Beautiful car. It's quite expensive, I must say. But if you look at the overall shape and condition of the car, it looks great. But yeah, who buys a V8 nowadays? But hey, if you got 15k laying around and you're not doing nothing with it, and you like this car, you might definitely take a look at it and take a test drive. I think it looks great. It's in great condition. It has been used, but you barely see it. So this is the most expensive one, January 2001. Here we have an S8 with quite a lot of kilometers actually for a V8. Automatic, so 10k for this car. And this is apparently the S8, so the top spec model, so to speak. And this one has 360 horsepower, and in 99 that was quite a lot. We run into the problem that these images don't load that fast, so I'll just already pre-select something else. This looks nice. Maybe we still find a diesel here as well. Yeah, here we have the diesel. So we can load that also in the meanwhile. What is this? This is the D4 actually. We'll cover that in another video. And this one, why is this? This is cheap. What is the cheapest? This one. 2.5 liter TDI. That's basically the entry level the A8, 2001. Quite a lot of kilometers. Yeah, I understand. This does not have that much. You see, the diesels are not expensive. This is a high mileage petrol, so we also cover that one. So let's go over here. This is the S8 top spec model. You can tell here in the grille by this emblem. It has a trailer hitch. That's a big no-no. Why you do that to a car? Here, this is really from the also when you see that the S2 which we covered also, they had, this is from the 90s definitely. We have this S8 rims, automatic gearbox, a phone, a parrot system. You can tell by the steering wheel that it's done lots of kilometers. This hand has been on there for hours. And you can tell it's done 333,000 kilometers NAP, which means it's a Dutch car. It can be all traced back, which is a big plus. But then again, it's 26 years old, done quite a lot of kilometers. It is the S8, so it's a top spec model. 10k is still quite a lot. I wouldn't say that this car is doesn't look good, but yeah, know what you get yourself into. This is not leather, I suppose, or it's half leather and Alcantara there. Does sit on some good rims. That's also important, especially with this power, and it's quite heavy. Too bad from this. You wonder what's happening here. Is this, if you have this amount of money, you're not driving around with a caravan, what are you pulling? Your horses, maybe. But you know, this potentially leads you down the road to think that this car had a heavy life, pulling heavy stuff through mountains or whatever. It is possible to do that because it has a big V8, but yeah, I always see that as a downside. Other than that, quite spectacular car, 10k. Moving on to the next. This is the cheapest diesel in the Netherlands. Oh no, not the cheapest, but this is a 3.3 V8 TDI diesel with 224 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 8.2 seconds. It was imported in 2000, I suppose. And this is a 2000 car, so Yeah. Oh, only 2 pictures. Yeah, I would just skip that. There's not even, or it doesn't load it. Oh, it's still loading. Let's see if we get some more pictures. But it is the V8 diesel 3.3. That's strange. You would say 4 liter or 4.2. Ah, here we are. Ah, okay, look. Now we go back. Not sure what's happening with the internet. They had TDIs back then, indeed. Yeah. Ooh, this is all mold. So it's been standing for a while. Logically, here you see it had some damage. These type of cars will not rust because most of the chassis, I suppose, is from aluminium, which is very difficult to rust. But these kind of things will rust, so you should touch that up. But should you still put money in a car like this? I'm not sure. First of all, in my opinion, it doesn't look representable in this way. Um, yeah, it's basically a write-off. I'm sure it still rides. You see, this chair has barely been used, and you see this has been used more. Logically, yeah. What year? This was 2000. I don't know. The problem here in the Netherlands is that you still need to pay the full amount of road tax for a car like this. This is heavy, and with a diesel, it means you need to pay twice the road tax. So that's one of the reasons why cars like these are not being driven. If you go to maybe Eastern Europe, maybe they even over there they think that. But I think in the basis the TDI is quite strong. This is also quattro, so 4-wheel drive. If you drive in the snow or whatever, this could be a winter beater car. Kind of strange exhaust here. Don't think it's original. You see the difference between this one and this one. So the D2 and this is the D3 then. Huge. But this was already designed late 90s, I'm sure, and this was designed early 90s and came onto the market in the mid 90s. So you can really see the design language difference. But I like it. It's not bad, but nobody buys a diesel like that no more. V8 diesel. You cannot drive to any big city anymore because they say, oh, it's a Euro 2 or maybe one Euro 1 emissions car. You're not allowed to enter the city. So this is basically for the highway, for the autobahn. Is it reliable after all these years? I'm not sure. I think in the basis, technical wise, these cars are quite durable because back then there were emissions regulations, but they were not that restricted that the engineers couldn't figure it out. Nowadays with Euro 6, it's creating unreliable cars and cars with a short lifespan just because the emissions. And also accountants took over at a certain point. But this is basically the point in time that Audi decided we are going to compete with BMW and Mercedes, and that's why they introduced this model. Last one we're going to cover, this is a 97. So this actually early production model. What the 4.2 V8, looking great. Nice rims on it. Nice steering wheel. This is a nice place to be. Think about it. Picture the late 90s and you're allowed to drive this around. All black, all leather, typical German. He don't have any MMI stuff. This car is, it's not analog, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it has a couple of ECUs here and there, but it's not really like with the big navigation screen and all the apps and all the connectivity options. When you compare it to the modern A8 and this one, it's a world of difference. Quattro here, I'm not sure if that's original. Also here, trailer hatch. All in all, this looks okay. This wasn't too expensive, but you can tell that it's old. You can tell. 350k, it's quite a lot. But it's a V8. Average speed, 110 kilometers in the tank, and it's a quarter. Let's check later what the fuel tank is. Let's see, it's imported, is it? 4.2 V8, close to 300 horsepower. Let's see if we can get more details on this. Can we get more details? Otherwise we need to check based on this. Let's see. Just a second. So we do a check. Alright, so 97, yes, it was imported. It had 5 owners. The last owner is probably the company that sells it now, but 5 owners, yeah, you know, 1 or 2 okay, but 5 it's a lot for a car like this. If you like the car and you can pay for it, then you keep it, right? Euro 2 emissions, 1725 kilos, which makes sure that if you drive this as a diesel, it's really gonna cost you a lot each month. Only if it stand on the driveway, it costs you money. So it really depends, and if you still want to drive a lot, but then you want a reliable car. You cannot drive to the city center, so that car, it's just from the Stone Age, and we want to keep it outside the cities, or at least the government wants that. So here you have it, the overview of this Audi, this generation, built from 95-ish, 96 to 2002. The 90s Audi, always had love and fascination for this model. I still love it to a certain point. Yeah, it's very dated, it's very 90s, but the 90s always holds a special place in my heart when it comes to a decade here in the West. Yeah, thanks for watching. We hope you're doing fine, and we catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.